Hey guys, it's your boy Pat. Welcome back to the next episode of the Hollow Down Cigar Lounge. Hanging out with my man Chad over here on the side. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, everybody?
And we are chilling today. Um, Unplanned. We both wore the same shirt today. So we're sporting Adventura. That gives you any idea what we're probably about to smoke up today. Bringing the big ADV back to the show once again, this time with the bad boy Chancellor. It's a 6x52 Toro. Throw this up on the screen for you guys. This is one of the blends that they put a true foil metal band on.
Justin.
It's Chad showcased this. He's got a great shot of that. So this is a silver primary with black accented metal foil band, and you can test that foil when you go to pull it off. It's not metal looking. It is. So got a few of these ADVs to run through the show, and we just felt like doing another one today. There's no reason. This is just we wanted to hit ADV.
But my favorite part of this cigar is what you just did. The
It's
smell of this cigar is just so good.
it's like
Man, I could just sit there and not smoke it and just sniff that wrapper. It's so floral.
it is. It's like if you took potpourri and gave it essence of like some sort of spiced wood.
Cedar, maybe.
It's like a cedar pine mix, and I don't know if I've ever said pine on a cigar. That's not something you normally get, but it's maybe it's that
Man,
floral note mix in it. I don't know. It's fantastic either way. But I'm
cold
putting a
draw, I don't get a whole lot of anything really. Maybe some cedar.
hit my V cut real quick.
And just so, I mean, I've smoked this cigar 30 times. So,
Right.
um,
I've only
all the
smoked it
stuff.
a couple times, but I haven't hit it as much lately because I've been bouncing heavy between a couple of their other sticks. Um, Blue Eyed
Which
Jack
ones
and
have you been liking?
the Blue Eyed Jack and the Barbarossa Invasion are the two that I just keep bouncing back the
And
most
for
lately.
you in ADD's lineup, those are the two that I would, you and Justin both, like those are
Yeah,
the two that I would think hit your guys' palates really well because they are spicy. Uh, those are on the
there's
upper end of what they do for octane, I say,
and they're
for sure.
spicy without being harsh. That's what's so good
Oh
about
no, they're super smooth, but they've got a lot of pepper in them.
them. Oh yeah,
The stuff that you guys dig that maybe I don't dig so much, right?
right.
This has a nice I almost call it like a white pepper. It's not punch you in the face pepper, but it's just enough that you know you're getting a little bit of pepper on your retro.
So I did do the cold draw, and I almost didn't say anything because I'm not exactly sure how to explain. I don't always do a cold draw, and I don't always talk about it when I do. But it
I don't
was
either.
heavy floral, but I can't tell you exactly what I was getting out of that. It's
See,
a
I got
lot.
like on the cold, I almost got more earth and cedar on the cold
Hmm,
draw. I don't get as much of that floral that you smell. Man, that wrapper just smells delicious.
that's crazy because I'm the complete opposite. I was getting wood and spice on the aroma with the floral on the cold draw. That's intriguing. Well, before we start talking about our preferences too much, I'll just give you some blend details. It's a Corojo wrapper. The binder is all Dominican. The filler is Sumatra mixed with an undisclosed blend. So, not sure exactly what is being added to the Sumatra. Like all the ADVs, it is made in the Dominican at Mina del Rey. Um, and we've already said it, so I won't jump the gun, but expected notes here are earth, wood, cedar, and a mix of herbal notes. So even on the aroma, we're kind of finding out that that's Very obviously true.
Yeah,
But
the two notes that I get from this too that they don't talk about ever is I get some baking spice, um, and especially when I get into that second third. And then I also get some floral hints, like fleeting moments of that smell we got. It's almost
right.
uh, a sweeter, but I think it's only on my retro. But those are two notes that I usually get from this cigar that they don't list as, typical notes. But
I'll give it a few more draws and I'll hit my first retro and see what we come up with. I have. This is not my first time smoking this. I do know for a fact the first time I had the Chancellor was from you. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, my first of all of the Royal Return blends came from you because I hadn't tried any of the metal banded ones whatsoever until you had sent me one in various trades. But the last time I smoked this was not for review purpose, so we're gonna dive into it a little deeper, I'm sure. But of course,
yeah,
kind of like you got me into Fuente, you also turned my head a lot heavier into ADV. I'd kind of like dabbled once or twice, but hadn't explored the whole line. And you pushed my envelope a little bit and was like, dude, you need to try these. And so now I'm, heavy on ADV as well. But something else I have to thank you for.
one of the things that I always talk about with Adventura, you've heard me say it over and over. I've never, ever had a failed construction. Um, and it speaks volumes of the brand and Henderson and Marcel and what they're doing over there. But um, they
You
use that
know,
that crazy accordion style bunching, and it seems to always create more airflow than a lot of cigars in the market. I'll say the draw on ADV is I prefer it. It's a little airy, like it's almost a little. Some guys might think it's too airy, right?
you
But
do always mention that it's open, but it still produces a lot of smoke for you.
it does produce a lot of smoke, and you'll never have a plug. Like I've never had a plug with an ADV ever. So that's one good thing. I've had them burn a little weird or whatever, but never had a plug ever.
You know, my my look off reaction was me trying to think of a point that I've had one. And I think I have to agree with you. There's a couple that have had a wonky burn here and there that, if I remember, corrected themselves.
Hmm.
Um, I think the only one that I've had that the burn gave me hell was, I think it was the Barbaroa, but it was while I was walking around in Spain. It was on a windy day. That
Oh,
doesn't
that's
really show anything to the cigar. So
yeah. You didn't give it a yeah, yeah.
mm-mm, that's
Anytime you do that and you got an outside force,
it's
kind of like
not a hit
last
on the
week.
cigar at all.
Last time we did our show, you said you had your Vornado sitting right there,
Yeah,
blowing
it
on
was.
your cigar. It's tough on your cigar too, but
Yeah. So that's it happened, but it's not the cigar's fault. But outside of that, I think you're right. I don't think I've had a construction issue or a plug issue. Um,
yeah, like right now when I lit
that's a
up.
good
uh,
observation.
When I lit up, I'm a little crooked right now, but I'm not going to touch this up and we'll just see how it goes. Typically,
Yeah.
it'll uh, it'll just auto correct. And if it doesn't, I'll hit it with a lighter, but I think it will auto correct. Um,
And I've got a. I'll show
did you
this.
do
Let's
a
see. We've got.
retro yet?
Nope. I'm about to do that right now. But it's. I've got a
Yeah,
really
yours is
good.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And the ash coming off any Adventura, I think, looks sexy. Like it stays bunched together. It'll go long. 9 times out of 10, I
good
can
long
get I
filler
can get
construction.
almost 2 inches out of my, first tap.
Oh, that's like a. Damn, you're right. That's like a spice, but heavy floral retro.
Baking spice and floral. And then on my
Yeah.
mouth, when I'm done, I get a little sweetness on my tongue as soon as I let that retro go. And it's fleeting, it goes right away, but like as soon as on my lips and my tongue, I get a little sweetness. And I don't know if
Man,
that's
that's
the Corojo or if that's I would assume it's the Corojo because it's so floral.
And it's hard for us to say for sure because of that one extra little undisclosed note. We don't know the entire construction. We know most of it.
Well, in that
That's
little that snippet that I was reading, it says that Adrian Acosta's father's tobacco was used in it. So
oh, you
I
know
don't know
what?
if that's
That's
part of the.
let's actually do that because you introduced me to this off the air, but you introduced me to a part that I did not realize. So
I'll get my glasses out here.
so Chad's going to tell you guys, and he's actually going to read this
It's story time.
story time on where the
I'm
Chancellor came from and
I'm
why it
bowed
was
down.
created.
All right, so this comes right from Cigar Coop, a review, somebody that I will go to from time to time. But it describes the Chancellor is the first installment of Adventura's elite broker program. This program allows some of Adventura's top salespeople to create a cigar. In this case, the salesperson was Adrian Acosta, a well-known cigar broker and cigar industry veteran. He worked alongside Adventura Cigars company owners Henderson Ventura and Marcel Knoble, so it made sense to dub the cigar the Chancellor. And the Chancellor, from what I understand, means the king's right hand. Um,
Right.
this was a very personal blend for Acosta. Acosta comes from a tobacco family. His father specializes in tobacco seed germination. Adventura procured a limited amount of tobacco grown by Acosta's father for this project. The Chancellor was planned to debut in 2022. Unfortunately, it was delayed due to the fire at Tabacalera William Ventura. Last year, the Chancellor became the first new project to be shipped from Adventura's new Tabacalera Mina del Rey facility. And then it goes into let's break down the Chancellor further. But yeah, and we already touched on
Yep.
what the blends were. So, but that's a neat
And
story, and I didn't realize that about the Chancellor,
mhm.
that it was basically Adrian Acosta's cigar. Essentially, they made it for him and with him. Like he helped to blend it, I'm sure.
And that
So
that last note you said was all I had realized is I didn't realize who Agent Acosta was per se. I didn't at the time. I didn't realize he was a blender. I just knew that he was in another industry personnel. I was under the impression that he was just involved in the blending. I
yeah,
did
he's
not
not actually
realize
a
how much
he's
of it was actually towards
he's not a
him.
blender, but his family is from
Mhm.
tobacco, and it sounds his father um sourced the tobacco for the cigar, it sounds like, or some of it, right? So
Right.
um Adrian is a broker. He's a cigar broker. I met him at PCA this year, and I guess he's just a killer in his industry. Like he
Must be.
he he works for more than one company, but Adventura is one of the companies that he represents, and he has done just a bang up job for those guys. So
Facts. And that's pretty cool to see where that actually comes from because I had the perception a little bit wrong. He didn't just he wasn't technically involved in the blending. It was made on his behalf in honor of him. So it's just pretty dope.
yeah, I don't know if he did help. I'm sure he probably did help, like as they were making the cigar. I'm sure he had input,
Had
right?
his input for sure.
For sure. I like that. Um, so especially with his father being so heavily involved with tobacco, and um, I'm sure that there was a lot of his input in there. It's spoke in that article also about how it kind of became a passion project for him. So
Right.
it's a pretty neat story, though.
It is. Still wish I knew that other what that actual tobacco because probably the undisclosed is probably that limited tobacco that Acosta's father put in this. And I wish we knew what it was. I understand why we don't, but I wish I knew what it
But
was.
yeah, I guess it didn't go into depth and describe which was it, the wrapper, was it the binder, was it the filler?
Well, it does. It does. Well, this is an assumption because we don't know. It down in the blend details it says that the filler is Sumatra and undisclosed, but that's just an assumption that it's the Acosta tobacco might
The
be the undisclosed
undisclosed is
portion,
the part of the
but we
filler,
don't
you
actually
thinking?
know that either. So
Yeah, we could find out though. I could
we
send
know a
some
guy.
I could send some messages off and find out.
We know a couple people. I know a
Hmm.
guy, you know a few guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just I would probably send Nicole a message first, actually,
Right, I
because
figured.
she's most likely to reach back out. Uh,
Even if we can't say it publicly, I would just like to know.
yeah, so have you watched the podcast that she's been putting out, Puffery?
I have not, honestly, have not.
So any of you guys that are watching, she's putting out a fantastic podcast right now, and it's all about Adventura. She's breaking down the blends, basically cigar by cigar, from this. So if you go back to the beginning and watch like from episode one, she's going through all of the cigars in basically in order. And
Okay.
it's pretty cool. So if you guys are watching and you have a chance, if you go to Adventura Cigars, pretty sure you can go to YouTube and get it. Or on Facebook, there's Adventura Cigars Facebook page. You can go there and actually, get links to the podcast as well. But it's really well done. And like I said, if you're an Adventura fan, then then you'll love it, I'm sure. So
If that's how she's doing the podcast, I definitely need to go watch it because I feel
hmm
like I would nerd out on that a little bit.
yeah, I think you'd love it. It's great, very well done.
We got a little bit of uh, we don't do this very often, but just minor cigar news that I just think is interesting. And we're not a news podcast, so I don't dive deep into this. But there's a couple things that I found interesting, and I'm going to keep this vague because it's that's not the path we normally go down. But we've all been dealing with all the price increases due to the tariff changes and the import export cost differences. And I know various states are trying to do certain things to kind of keep industries. So like being in Louisiana, they've as far as I know, it hasn't gone through yet, but they're planning to implement on their legislative session that if it hasn't happened by the time of this recording, it's around the corner. If they're on schedule, they're usually not. But trying to make a 50 cent per cigar cap, so at least there's a limit per cigar. And various states are doing different things. But due to I know there's been some issues with. This was kind of crazy. The first quarter of U.S. cigar sales had like a 7% increase, although shipments into the U.S. are like an 8 or 9% decrease because of the tariffs. So cigar lovers are still out there buying cigars. It's hard for us to break, but I know I saw on CRA, which we've mentioned, Cigar Rights of America, they are pushing hard to make sure I say this correctly. That they're trying to push to exempt all premium cigars from FDA oversight in general. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there, and kind of lines up with stuff that this was on one of the recent episodes on the Texas Cigar Roadshow. Was I was there in studio with this one, so it's 156, 157, something like that. They were talking about Connecticut
It was
was.
157. I just watched the other day.
Well, I can't remember which news section because we were
Oh
on. So we
yeah,
were on
whether you were
157, but
next to it or
we were
in
in,
it. Yeah, I think it
right.
might have been the one that was. So if it was the one during the sodas, I think it was the 156.
It might have been because they were talking about some crazy laws that Connecticut had come up with to try to create some stupid, trying to not derail here, but some stupid implementations for premium cigars that pretty much only affected like $50 or $60 retail cigars. So people are doing a lot of weird things to try to combat all this tariff stuff. So, but at the end of the day, what we do know
Back to normal.
is back to normal. I see that it
Never
fixed
touched
itself.
it.
But what we know at the end of the day, you've got shipments are down, sales are up, And there was even a random note on here that for Davidoff, they had a 20% reduction in production, expected to
And their
sell less
sales
because
went
of,
up. Yeah, I saw
and their
that.
sales still went up a little bit. So,
So was
you
the
know, we're,
statistic you just gave for importation, the importation had gone down 8%,
yeah, so
7.9 or whatever?
said
Was
there's
that
a,
first quarter or was that second quarter?
so it was technically first quarter because even though we're, you know, in July,
Or in second
you
quarter, yeah.
know, it's there's always a delay in getting the closure data, right? So technically that was for the first quarter. As of today, it didn't have the second quarter, but it said for first quarter there was a slow start for imports, where the shipments of all handmade premium cigars had an 8.7% decrease, although on those imports there was a 7.2% increase in sales. So even though less
Hmm.
cigars are coming in, cigar lovers are still going out there and buying them. So
What have you
it's interesting.
seen? Because I've noticed, just small adjustments in pricing too.
There's my
In
ash.
did it
Maybe
just go? Hopefully you got
you
it in the
might.
screen.
I might have got me on screen.
If you were holding it right there, you did, because I think it,
I'm pretty sure I did,
yeah, you should
but
be good. That'll be a good shot. But what
I
have
don't
you
get me
noticed?
very
Have you
often.
noticed, um, minimal, minimum price increases? Because I've seen, you know, the few places that I buy from, there's been a small increase.
I have.
I
It
think
seems
that's pretty
minimal.
much across the board. Yeah, it's not been shocking or anything like that, but um,
It's we kind of see a jump in inflation on a year to year basis anyway. So we kind of expect to see, even if it's just the 1 or 2%, like all retail, it kind of fluctuates every year with inflation. So it's been a hit, but so far it doesn't seem to be a massive hit. Now I know we had that 90-day stall at the beginning where it didn't affect as much,
yeah.
but now we're kind of getting into the new regulations and everything. And I've seen, I don't know, maybe a 5 to 10% increase across the board. So it's there, but most of your cigars that are, $8 to $10, it's a matter of a few cents on most cigars. So it's not crazy. The high premiums, obviously, on a percentage base, I've kind of seen maybe go up $1 or 2, but most of them, it's a matter of cents so far.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing I really enjoy about this cigar is the retro. Like, it's very elegant. Um, and I know you don't retro all the time, but like for me as a cigar smoker, that's what I'm always looking for is that spot on retro. It's almost
I'll
more
tell
important
you,
to me than most other aspects of the cigars. If the retro is good,
right?
that's where you get me.
I'll tell you, as you stated, I'm not a big retro guy, but I've already retroed this cigar more than I usually retro an entire cigar. It's and I don't have a heavy retro, so I'm not a guy like you or Ronnie. Y'all do a full retro. You can see almost as much smoke coming out of your nose as you do on a regular inhale exhale. I don't retro that heavy. I pull it in enough to get it and push it through. But
Mhm.
man, I've already hit this retro several times. It's
Everybody
interesting,
retro's different,
it's spicy,
that's
but
the
it's
thing.
pleasant.
Yeah, everybody retro's different. Um, some people will retro, they'll blow out 90% of the smoke and then retro the last, 5 or 10%. Some guys will blow out 50 and retro 50. I guess it's all what you like, there's no right way to smoke a cigar. We've talked about this. You smoke it the way you like to smoke it.
Right.
Some guys don't retro at all.
Smoke
They
it the
just
way you
mouth
like.
smoke, right? And if that's what you like,
Right.
that's what you like, No one can tell you any different. It's like I can't tell you
Exactly.
what kind of cigar you're gonna like, It's why they make a million different kinds.
Exactly. That's why there's options for days. Which is why we love this journey so much. And I know that's corny and I say it often. I don't care. It's why
Yeah,
we love this thing. It's,
for sure.
you know, and like several of us have mentioned, your palate and your journey can change. What you liked last year is not what you like this year. You may circle back around to stuff. You may never touch something again. You may find something brand new tomorrow that you've never seen. No way to know what's going to happen. And it's a hobby that keeps on giving. There's some hobbies are static. This is definitely not one of them. You never know what you're going to find, what you're going to run into, what you're going to enjoy day to day. It's one of the best
Speaking
things.
speaking of good retros, I don't know. Have you had the Piece of Heart yet? Which is that charity cigar that they did. It's a pyramid,
I have not. In
Connecticut.
fact, the um, I've been picking it up. You sent me one because you asked
Okay, I
me
couldn't
that
remember if I
question,
sent you one or not. So
and
you
I
have one,
haven't.
you just haven't smoked it yet.
Yep.
Okay.
You right,
Yeah, you smoke
and
it in
by
good
the time
time. I
this
just
airs,
want to
I
make sure
might
you
because
had
I've
one.
picked it up. I've picked it up a few times and set it down and said maybe tomorrow. So it's gotten close to being smoked. I just hadn't hit it yet.
That's a good morning
So
cigar. Like if
maybe by
you're
the time this airs, I may have smoked it by now. We'll see.
do you smoke with coffee? Like, because you're all weird because you work nights, so you probably aren't like most normal people who smoke in the morning with a cup of coffee, right? Like, do you do that with your routine? Is that
So
ever a thing for you
so
on the
coffee doesn't
weekends
keep
or?
me up. I drink coffee because I like it. I can
Right,
drink coffee and immediately go to sleep.
me
So
too. I could drink a half a
um,
pot and go right to bed.
so I do. Most of the time, it's either going to be like if I'm doing it with a cigar, it's either going to be straight black coffee if it's one that I know has got a good robust flavor, or it's going to be like a cafe latte style. It's one of those two. No matter what coffee I'm drinking, if I'm doing it with a cigar, it's going to be one of those two options 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Um, so
I like
I do a coffee as well.
with Connecticut, I always like to like when I'm at work during the week, I drink straight black coffee. Like nothing but. But anytime I'm smoking in Connecticut, I like to use some kind of a cream because it helps, I think, just like you guys talk about with bourbon. I don't drink bourbon, right? But
Right.
it'll help you pull out cream nuances in the cigar and other things that you might not pick up. We talk about it all the time. What you're drinking, what you ate, it definitely plays a part in how your cigar experience goes. So I would suggest when you smoke that,
It does.
put a little, you know, cream or caramel cream or something in your coffee when you smoke that Piece of Heart.
Okay.
I think it'll help you pull some more notes out of it. But that's a great cigar. It's really good. I wish they made it as a full production cigar you could buy a box of.
Regular production.
You smoke
And
Queen's Pearls though, right?
yes, yes. One of the few
Which is,
Connecticut.
yeah, they're white
It's on my
banded
short list of
Connecticut.
Connecticut's that I like,
Oh my gosh, is that thing good?
and I'm
So
not
it
a
has
big
a
Connecticut
lot
guy. I
of,
like that one.
it's a little stronger than Queen's Pearls. So I think you like that about it.
Okay.
In my opinion, it's a little bit stronger, but it's still in that Connecticut realm. So
Hmm.
it's kind of between this, like as far as strength goes, it's between this and the Queen's Pearls. So it's kind of
Okay.
because this isn't an overly strong cigar. I would say this medium.
Yeah. Agreed.
But the nicotine on this is sneakier than you think. By the time you get done, like if you don't watch it, it'll kind of sneak up on you. It's one of those ones you don't doesn't taste strong, doesn't feel strong, and then when
They
you're
hit
done, you're
you.
like, oh, that must have been that cigar.
And speaking of bourbons, I did this on a whim, just based on what I saw that spice note in there. This isn't a bourbon. I mean, y'all seen me on the show with it before, but get it with that light. Ezra Zion or Ezra Zion. Wow, I'm talking about another cigar. Ezra Brooks 99 because it's got some extra like brighter spices in that bourbon that is working very well. Um, when I chase the cigar after the drink, it's bringing those floral notes out very strong. So good choice by accident. That was on a whim just to see if that would do it, and it does. But I'm definitely gonna have to take your opinion, and I'm gonna almost bet money by the time this show airs, I will have smoked that Piece of Heart because now you really have made me want to stop putting it back in the
Yeah,
bag.
it's a good stick. Like I said, and it might be, Might not be your favorite, but I think you'll for sure appreciate it. Like, because you may like Queen's Pearl, because Queen's Pearl is so good. It's hard,
That one
really hard to
just
compete with that one.
that one still amazes me that I like it that much. Because I mean, I'm very picky on Connecticut's because I like the bigger ump, but that's on the short list, man. It's just a good cigar.
Well, before I started smoking those, I was smoking Davidoff Grand Cru. That was my
Mm,
morning stick. I love Grand Cru, but at almost $30 a pop, um,
right.
Queen's Pearl is a much more affordable option. So, and in my opinion, it pretty much rivals it. Like it's just as good, better, maybe even.
Because what
Um,
the Queen's Pro is that I may be off the marker is that's like $12 to $14. Is that right? In that ballpark? Or is
yep,
that
yeah.
right?
Depends on the size. Yep, right around there.
So
So
you're
it's less than
two
half the
almost
money.
yeah, I was gonna say you're two almost three cigars depending on where you're getting them from.
Yeah, two and a half sticks per is what you'd be looking at. So,
And speaking of, I did not
um,
look up since we're mentioning price. I fumbled. I didn't check out what the expected price is on this. Do you know off the top of your head?
the MSRP is $18.
Okay, a little bit higher.
But there are sales on them all the time. So I see them for 13, 14 all day. So if you look around, you can find them for that. And it's definitely, in my opinion,
Worth
well
it.
worth that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
like I said before, it always makes it worth it to me when I know I'm never going to have to go back and like when I'm buying cigars, I want to know I don't mind spending money as long as I know I'm getting good value, good product, right?
right.
So when I'm buying cigars and I get, well, this one didn't smoke, or this one burned crooked, or this one was plugged, how much value did he get out of that less expensive cigar? For
Mm.
me, that's my take on it.
And it's good. Everybody's got their mark, but I'm sure you know by now because I say it a lot. My personal like value to the cost line is that $30 range where I feel it kind of starts going
Yeah,
on a tangent.
you really got to do something good for me to get me past 30.
Right.
I agree. I
And
agree with that.
this one, not this same profile, but the closest that I'm coming up with on a short hit is out of Placencia, their Alba de Campo, and this one's a little bit different flavor profile, but it's talking about price point. That's a $25 cigar, and I think
Elma de Campo.
fun though, guys. We're fixing a technical difficulty right in the middle of the show. My entire system just crashed, so we're bringing it back. Be back with you momentarily. Well, guys, that's a random cut because my entire system just crashed. So here we are for part two after we've gone down about another inch. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I don't know where it cut me off at. So um, my point I think I was about to make is we were talking about value in cigars, right? So that $30 range being that value to cost point. And when you're talking about your top shelf personal opinion here, although it's not the same blend, not the same cigar, kind of thinking of the Almo de Campo, which, depending on where you get it from, roughly a $20 cigar. I think you've mentioned you've seen them a little bit less. Where that
Well, you
cigar,
smoke those gorilla arms, so those
I
probably
do.
are
That's
over
fair.
$20.
I do smoke.
You
I love
sent
the.
me one time, and I said, "How the hell am I supposed to smoke this?" It was like a 7 by 70 or something.
I they're 6 by 60, but they're six those of the hexagon, so they're taking more tobacco and pushing it down. So I love the placencias that are in the full Gordo format. So yeah, I'm probably a little bit higher priced than the ones you would buy. That's fair.
Yeah,
Um,
I just bought a box recently of the Toro size. It's like a 56 by 6 or 54 by 6, and I really like that cigar.
but my comparison thought was that one I think needs to be a couple dollars less, where some of the other Almas, like the the 1865 and the Colorado, I think are worth, the mid 20s. For
Yeah.
this one, if you're saying it's around 18, I think Henderson, don't listen, plug your ears on this one. I think it could actually be a little bit higher. Like this could actually be a $22 stick, and I would still be satisfied with it. So where you've got some things on quality that are in the ballpark that I think may be a little overpriced,
Hmm.
I would actually be okay with this one. I'm okay that it's not more, but I
Yeah.
think that it could be, and it would still hit in that good value point for what you're getting out of it. Because good construction, good flavor, obviously good burn. I mean,
Yeah, but like I said, at 12 or 13, you'd be in for sure, right? And that's where I've seen here recently. So
yeah,
it's
for sure.
that's a tremendous value at that price point. But $18 all day long, I'd pay for this cigar, no problem.
Yeah, and there's
But
and that seems to kind of be in the going rate in today's market for your, what's the right word in my head? I'd say
just
mid premiums.
upper level, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
upper level premium cigars.
where they're, if a premium brand is floating in the 12, 13, $14 range, they come out with a little bit higher blended cigar, it kind of hits that 18, $20 range. So, um, excluding sales, that's, what you're saying, this hit. So, if I
Yep.
see this on a sale for less than that, absolutely, banger on value there.
Yeah, MSRP is 180 a box, 10 count boxes. So, um, speaking of expensive cigars, though,
Yeah, what you got?
did you see the new Fuente Humidors dropped the heaven and earth humidors? So what I need you to do is send me approximately $12,000 so I can order one. So it has a box of every heaven and earth in it, plus a box of Big B, which is the newest, hardest to get one.
And
So there's 106 cigars total, but
I
the
to say, I
humidors are
don't know
beautiful.
the Fuente blends by heart as much as you do, but um, with the exception of that Big B, the rest there's 10 each of, was it 10? Quick math here.
There's
How many
there's
blends
10,
or how
yep,
many
10
brews?
boxes, 10 boxes of 10, yep.
10
And
boxes of
so
10.
it's your rare black double Corona, your Scorpio Maduro, your Taurus de Bull Maduro,
So it's the 10 of 10 plus the
plus the Big B.
Big
Yep.
B.
There's six in that Big B humidor. 'Cause that's a 60 ring gauge monster. It's about that long, but it's just a big.
And those
It's
humidors,
almost like a ferrule. It's the size. It's like a ferrule. It's almost like a ferrule mold. It's
I'm
tapered
gonna
on both ends.
I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna try to find them. Well, I know I can find them, but I'm gonna find pictures of the. I think there's three color variations of the humidor, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I'm gonna put them
Hmm.
up because they're just absolutely gorgeous. It's something Fuente does. If not every year, it's almost every year. I know here recently it's been every year, but they do a special selection of these cigars, and I hate that you got me enjoying Fuente the way that you have because I wish I
I
had more ability to get them more often.
I got to see the humidors in person at PCA this year because they're actually in Keith Park's booth for
Does
God of
it hold the
Fire.
hype
Because
for how well it looks on photo?
oh my gosh, they're just gorgeous.
Mhm.
They're so beautiful. And Prometheus actually is the owner of that because they all the Heaven and
Makes
Earth
sense.
in all the Heaven and Earth cigars are Prometheus products.
Oh, that's right. You
So
did school me on that. That's right.
Fuente rolls all those cigars, but they're for God of Fire and Prometheus. And that's apparently the biggest donor to Carlitos Charities is God of Fire and Prometheus. So
Yeah, I
I don't
shouldn't be
know.
surprised at that.
Yeah, but the humidors in person are just jaw dropping. They're just gorgeous, and it should be for the what you're paying for
I mean,
them.
yeah, if you're
So
paying that much for it, it better be banger.
for
Which,
for
so if you're
sure.
talking, I don't want to mess this up. So you're talking 106 cigars, right? So you're talking 12K divided 106. So I screwed that up. Let me fat finger not type some stuff. So you're talking $12,000. So 10 to 10, 100 plus a 6, so 106. So you're $113 a cigar, but that's not accounting for the badass humidor itself.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
MSRP on
mean,
most of those boxes is like 695 to 800. So really you're probably paying 3, 4 grand for the humidor.
something like
And
that, roughly,
you
yeah.
know, realistically.
But it's a
So,
collector's piece, so
oh gosh.
it's not something every cigar smoker is going to get. It's a very limited selection. But if you're into the high end collecting of some of these premium cigars, that's what it's for. And I'm going to do what you have taught me to do before it gets too close on this band, since you taught me the right way to get these off so you don't damage a cigar with the metal band. So,
I probably should just do a little tutorial here and show you guys what Henderson Ventura showed me.
yeah, let's
So
do it.
with these metal bands, they come off a little hard and there's the glue. So what Henderson showed me was you grab one corner and you lift it, and then you go to the other corner and you lift it, and then you go back and forth just about 2 or 3 times and kind of rotate back and forth once you can get a hold of it, and it pops right off. Oh, was I off screen when it actually pulled off camera?
Yeah, but you're good because
Shoot.
the explanation is on point. And
Shoot.
just to show, this is your. I'm gonna get behind these lights a little bit. So that's your metal band, right? And just to show that it is metal, you bend it, it stays its shape, right? So it's not a metal look-alike. It's not one of those foil embossed on paper. This is a legit metal band, and we've dropped some hints to Hendo about making a ADV ring because it kind of gives it that royal ring look here, right? So
You
love the
guys always
band.
laughing because I have them on my fingers when I start the show sometimes.
Yeah, you
Because
do.
I'll have smoked an ADV before we start. So
Not surprised.
you, I had my cigar off camera, but as you can see, you just get the corner going and then you get the other corner going, and then you back and forth, just twist and it'll pull apart. So
It comes off very cleanly,
I have more trouble now with the paper bands than I do
right?
the foil bands or the metal bands.
This is almost Chad here,
Yeah, that's how I'm usually rocking one of those. It's usually white though. If I'm pre-show, I won't smoke anything heavy, so I usually smoke a Queen's Pearls,
right?
so I don't
You don't want to
destroy my palate
overpower the
for a
palate
review.
before we do a root. Yeah, exactly.
I can always smoke one of those, and then you can taste everything when you're done. You know, you're not gonna kill your palate.
Exactly.
So
But yeah,
my cigars actually lightened up a little bit, and I don't know if you're as far as the spice has kind of dropped off, and I just have like it's mostly cedar wood and a little bit of that floral. But I don't
so
have all the pepper. I don't have the pepper that I had earlier.
it flipped for me actually while we were off air dealing with the difficulty. I noticed the change in one of the retros. So the spice that I was getting in the normal inhale backed off, but it grew in intensity in my retro. It just
Okay,
moved to where it was coming through at for me.
there you go.
So because the at
Nope.
the beginning the retro where it was a little bit of spice and that floral note, now I can barely taste the floral, but there's a whole lot of spice and pepper on that retro. So it just morphed into a flip for me.
What do you get for mouthfeel notes? Like, what are you getting on the mouth?
So the mouth, wood all day, whole lot of it. I mentioned the aroma of pine. I'm not getting that bright wood. I would stay to a traditional cedar on that. Get a little bit of the baking spice in there, but now it's more heavy wood and a little bit of earthy undertone.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of cedar and wood, a little bit of earth. I could see that too.
I'm not
But
getting where the expected details mentioned that herbal note while we were saying floral at the beginning. Now it is more of an herbal baking spice type of mix. It's not as floral-esque as it was at the beginning.
Yeah, I've got less floral now too.
So, but it was
And
a
it,
gradual, smooth transition. I just started noticing the change while we were off air for a minute, but
yeah, that's why I was telling you. Like, I've smoked a bunch of these cigars, and my favorite part is the second third. And I think from the beginning of the second third to the beginning of the third third, they're my favorite because I think you get the most intense floral and pepper together. Like for me, that's like that white pepper and floral on the
right.
retro is perfect.
And
So
then
not that it's not good now, but to your point, it's
smooth
changed.
transition. And I
Yeah,
can
it's a
see
little
why
more
you say
pepper and
second,
less
third,
floral.
because
Yep.
I started observing that for me about the dead even halfway point, which would be in your second third if you're going by third standard. So, um,
Yeah.
but it was smooth. It wasn't like any harsh. It wasn't, some cigars they'll put on purpose. Your basic filler note, and they might put a little viso here up on this part and a little seco here, or vice versa, whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And this one, it's more well blended, I think. So it's either that leaf itself, whether it's a whole leaf and it's just changing from one end to the other, or whatever, however they're mixing it with that undisclosed portion. It was definitely a change, but it was a progressive change.
Smoother transition. Smoother
Yeah.
transition than it wasn't abrupt fall
Hmm.
right off or yeah, I agree.
Which
That's how
I enjoy it, and I said that the other times I've smoked this, it wasn't on a review, so I was enjoying it, but I wasn't deep diving into it. But that is a very pleasant transition. I enjoyed it a lot.
now from the original blends, um, I smoke a lot of those too. Those are like the core blends are some of my favorites. So the
Since you asked me,
Navigator,
what is your actual
Explorer, and Conqueror. My actual favorite all day long is Explorer.
okay?
So that's the red banded. And I smoke them in several formats. One of my favorites is that little mini Robusto.
Yep.
I don't know I can't remember the name of the actual size, but it's a short Robusto. And I love it for the time because it's like the size of a Micarita 440 4 or whatever. It's small. It's 40-minute smoke, 30-minute smoke.
And I knew
So
you
I love
smoked a
that
lot of
about it.
it. I didn't know if it was just on convenience of the size or you actually preferred the blend, but I guess it's a win-win
Oh,
double for you.
I love the blend too, because I smoke it in other sizes like the box press and there they have um, a torpedo. If I have more time, right? But I like that in Robusto or the short Robusto. But two of my other favorites that get overlooked all the time because of all the new stuff they have coming out, right? But
Right.
the Navigator, the blue banded Navigator is just
Wow.
phenomenal. Maybe you've smoked that, right? I like
So
that.
the
The Conqueror is the
Navigator,
black banded one. I like that too.
the Navigator, this was not on purpose, but it just hints the name. That was the show, if I'm not mistaken, was
Yeah,
our first remote show as we literally navigated to a new format. So
yep, it was. And we smoked the Navigator.
yeah.
And I love that cigar so
And I
much.
think that was the first time I smoked the Navigator because you had sent me one, and then we decided to try this. We did it in a trade, and then we decided to start the remote stuff. And I think we just helped. Well, I think
I'm not
I
sure that
held off.
wasn't your first ADV. Was it
It
your
may
first
have been.
ADV? I think it might have been.
So, well, I had smoked. I'll be honest. I think I told you it was my first ADV. However,
No, because I think at that time you already had Blue Eye Jack, and I think the because we talked about it on the show that you already had like you had gotten your box of Blue Eye Jack, so you must have been smoking some
well,
ADV already.
what I can tell you for sure, regardless of how I presented it on the show, I know I'd smoked some ADV, but I didn't realize how extensive and how quality they were as a brand. So it wasn't a brand that I was paying attention to. So
Yeah.
I do remember referencing it being one of the first ones I smoked as actually stopping to enjoy, review, think about, talk about the cigar because I didn't realize how good they were as a brand. So I'd smoked one here or there, but it was just like in the mix of things, right? So I wasn't really stopping to
Pay
thoroughly give it the
attention.
time, pay attention, give it
Yeah.
the credit and time it deserves. So in my brain,
Yeah.
as far as an aficionado, if you will, I'm going to say that it was my first ADB, giving it its true chance.
Navigator's such a good blend. Um, but I mean, you smoke them all now, so.
Right.
But
All
to
over the
my
place.
point,
Man.
I think you probably prefer Blue Eye Jack and Barbaroa because of your guys' love for peppers and
Right.
spicy and
And
Barbaroa. I love Barbaroa too, but
it's
it's a
tough
whole
to tell
different
you
kind of
out of those
cigar.
two. I can definitely tell that those two are my top two, but it's tough for me to sit and tell you which one I know I don't want to say go too far off onto it because we do want to bring at least. I'm sure we'll cycle through all of them on the show eventually, but I know we're the next time we get all four of the OGs on, we're gonna smoke the Blue Eye Jack for Ryan. But it is tough for me to decide out of those two which one is my one and two. It's real
Yeah.
tough. I might slightly lean towards Barbaroa, but that's a tough choice for me. But they're definitely my one and two, regardless.
I'm in the same camp with you. If I had to pick one, it would be Barbaroa, and it would be in the Robusto format.
And
I love
oddly
the I
enough, this
love
may
the Robusto
surprise
format.
you. Um, the boxes of each that I have right now, Ellen got for me as a gift. She got me one box of each. She got me the Robusto because I think the Toro was just out of stock when she wanted to get them for me. But I'll tell you, as a Gordo smoker, I absolutely love those two in Robusto,
Yep.
which is insane to my brain because that's not normally my preferred. And I know I have at least a couple Toros just thrown in the singles bin, but those two, I don't know why. I love it in Robusto, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, what you
But
should do is take one of those Robustos and smoke it like when you got some time to smoke uh, in the same day. Just try to smoke both of them. Give it a
see what,
break, like smoke one and see what you notice
yeah,
different about it, because they'll be slightly different. I'm assuming that the Robusto is probably a little spicier, got a little more punch. Toros are typically tamed down a little bit because the blend gets opened up and more air creates a smoother draw and smoother, taste, if you will. So,
right. That would be uh,
but
that would be an interesting thing to do.
yeah, I got my diademas today.
Oh yeah,
Speaking of Adventura, so I didn't get them today. Actually, I took a picture of them today. I got them yesterday, or I don't remember. Yesterday, I think they came in the mail.
recently,
So
yeah, you still
I
got them.
think, yeah, yeah. So I'm excited about those. I smoked one at PCA. I don't know that it was ready yet. I'm really excited because I love the Blue Eye Jack, right? But this is it's the same leaf, but a different priming, so it's a lot darker wrapper.
Because
So
if I'm not
it's gonna have
correct
some
me
more
if I'm wrong,
punch.
but they named it the Blue Eye Jack's Revenge Maduro.
It's
Is
that's what
that what he
people are
called it,
calling it. That's what
or
they're
what? Is,
calling it. People are calling it the Maduro because it's when you look at the two next to each other, the one is considerably darker than the other.
so
But from
color
what I
difference.
understand, it's the same leaf, different priming.
Mm,
So it's farther
okay.
up, possibly. Typically, that's where they go for spicy. But I'm not positive on that. But it's the same leaf, different priming. Um, but it's actually called the Blue Eyed Jack's Revenge High Tide.
Ah,
That's
that's
the
right.
the
That's right.
diadema, but people are calling it Blue Eye Jack Maduro. Like everybody's just calling it that. So
Just color way it
yeah,
looks.
yeah. So it's just kind of people in the industry. Everybody's just calling it Blue Eye Jack Maduro. So you have to throw a picture of them up,
Yeah, I'll throw
kind
it
of
up.
show off. But they kind of cool because they came with this really cool challenge coin that's in the top of the box.
Oh,
Um,
that's dope.
on every box, there's this really cool challenge coin. It's got this kraken. So Adventure, their storyline is fantastic. They took, the whole pirate theme and they've just run with it, right? So
Right.
like all the other stuff, this coin is, Adventure pirate theme base, but it has a kraken on it. The big octopus. And it's pretty cool. So I'm excited to try one. I'll let them sit for probably 3 or 4 weeks before I even pull one out and smoke it. So
Little throwback to Justin coming on as a pirate for that show.
I was just scrolling through my pictures the other day, and I have a picture of Henderson, which I'm glad I remembered this. The one that he sent me when he was at CI with Henderson, where Henderson's wearing his pirate hat,
Yeah, that was
and,
cool.
and so that's going on this episode too. We'll send it.
Yeah,
You
we'll
can
go
put it
pull that
up.
picture back up and get it on here because I know we've got that picture in our media file. So
Yeah, I've
Um,
got it if you don't, because he sent it to me. So I've got to. I was just scrolling through and it happened to. I was like, oh, I forgot about that picture. That's funny.
'Cause that was the La Llorona that we did that on. Oh yeah, because it has the slide band on it. That's right,
What's it? Oh yeah, La Llorona. We did.
La Llorona.
No, but I'm
Did he?
saying, yeah, but when he was when you guys were at CI, he
Oh
took
yeah,
that
and
hat and
he
had
actually.
Henderson sign it, and then Henderson was wearing it, and he took a picture of Henderson
Yep.
in it. So we've got proof that Henderson wore the hat.
So that,
So
and on a note to Henderson, we referenced it a couple times on the show, but that day at CI last year that he was in an event in Texas, me and Justin got to run into him. First time you had met him, first time I had actually met him. Really cool, down to earth guy, and we talked about some cigar. Whether you're talking about a rep or a brand owner, some of them are personal guys, some are not. You know, he definitely is. The conversation we were able to have with him, first time meeting me in person, and I'm pretty sure it's the first time, excuse me, meeting Justin in person. You'd have thought we've been friends for 10 years, just the way that he is with his new customers, and, just a really cool guy to sit and talk with. And, he's one of those guys that I'd heard things about, like, man, this is a good dude. He's down to earth. He's genuine. Sometimes people are blowing smoke up your butt, and that was one that was very accurate of that man. Very cool guy to talk with. So that was a pretty cool day for me personally as well, just actually getting to meet him and talk to him a little bit.
yeah, and he knows so much about tobacco, like he'll lose you in a hurry.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough. I got to hang out with him, at PCA and the whole team.
mm-hmm.
Marcel and Nicole is just unbelievable. They're awesome. They're all awesome people. But then I think it was 2 weeks later or three weeks later, he was back in Michigan, so I got to hang out with Henderson again. I
Oh,
think I
that's
told you
right.
that. So I got to spend a whole nother day with him over at Ronnie's. So yeah, it was like within
Yeah,
2 or 3 weeks from coming back from PCA, he was back in Michigan, so I got to hang out with him again. So
and
yeah,
talking
he's a
about
good
his
dude.
knowledge of tobacco, I'd asked him, and I won't go on this story because we do want to try to get him on the show. Um, he's a very busy man as well. But I asked him about his, you know, how he, how his growth was in from cigars, and he literally told me it was like since he was 8 or something. And
Yeah.
that number may be wrong, but I know he was
No, I think
young.
that's exactly right. He told me he smoked his first cigar when he was 8.
Maybe
He's
that's
been
what it
in
was.
the cigar industry since he was born in it
Yeah,
because of his
especially because of his
father,
dad.
right?
Right.
So
But
his
he
father
went
was a
off and
master
was,
blender at Davidoff, and then obviously William Ventura. Everybody knows about Tabacalera William Ventura.
yep.
They make the El Maestro cigar. He's done cigars for Caldwell. He's done cigars for everybody. His father. So
And you
he's
still
been.
randomly find cigars that have nothing to do with his brand, you'll see that are at his factory. So,
Yeah,
um,
he's heavily involved. His father has been heavily involved in the industry since Henderson was born. So I think Henderson told us, he kind of tried to get away from tobacco as he got a little older, and just he ended up right back in it. So
mhm.
he tried to kind of do his own thing, and he's doing his own thing now, right? Obviously, but
Right, right.
um, yeah, he worked in the factory, ran the factory, for years when he was younger, and so
But his knowledge was intense because we asked him a couple questions and we sat there and it's like we were at a master class that we paid for to attend. The amount of
right.
information that he was kicking our way and teaching us, and it was incredible to sit there and listen to him talk about the tobacco production side, not just the sales and marketing and all that stuff, but listen to talk about the tobacco itself.
Mhm.
Fantastic, fantastic learning point.
Yeah, I got the opportunity to meet his brother and sister when I was at PCA too. Weber and Natalie. They were both super nice, and I believe that they both um, work for and run his father's company still. So
Yeah, I can't say I know anything about them other than I've heard him mention the names. That's it. So I can't speak on them, but seems to be the family's got a good vibe in general.
Man, I'm down here and there's no bitter taste. I'm still retro in this
Yeah,
thing, like full sling.
yeah. I mean, I'm right there. It's
I will say it hasn't changed a lot from about just before the last third started.
hmm
It's just kind of it's been pretty linear, but there was a good change, a good amount of change that happened on the first two thirds for sure.
absolutely, and it's a damn good cigar. If Derek was here, this would be a big old yup because this is
Yup.
it's fantastic. Um, Killer smoke, man. And well, Chad, I guess I'm gonna say we're gonna wrap the show up. I have no idea how long this show is gonna be at this point. You know,
Could
technical
be
issues are
15,
what they
could be
are.
15 minutes and could be 50 minutes.
So, um, I'm gonna say it like it is. We'll all find out this together when I edit. If you are seeing this version of this show, it is what it is. It may be an hour and 5 minutes. It may be 25 minutes. We will find out. But either way, um, I'm hoping we got. I'm hoping the recording actually saves for what we did talk about because we actually had some pretty good conversation, getting to portray the transitional difference of this cigar for what it is. And like I said, we've mentioned it. Cigar doesn't have to have a transition to be a good cigar. It's
Nope.
just got to be a good blend, right?
Yeah,
But
for
if you're
sure.
going to have a transition, you want it to have a transition that progresses in a pleasurable way, right? You
Yeah.
know, you don't want it to turn into a pepper bomb when you weren't expecting it or whatever. So it definitely progressed well. And great cigar, great price point, great construction, all of it.
Yeah. Great company.
Definitely. So this is one that I don't do very often, but it's definitely in the 90s, may hit around mid 90s once I actually popped a review on it. But fantastic cigar. But
Excellent.
thank you guys for hanging out and watching the show as it was able to be published. So, um,
Whatever's left of it.
whatever's left of it. So, um, if you're seeing me say this comment right now, that means we didn't have to scrap it and redo it, and that's a win because technology is great, and sometimes you have no control over what your computer is going to do when it decides to shut everything off in the middle of a show. It is what it is, right? But again, thanks for hanging out with us, Chad. Thanks for smoking a badass cigar with us today. And
Yep, no problem.
if y'all are watching, y'all haven't smoked the cigar, again, the Chancellor from Adventura or ADV, go get one, go try it out. Go buy one, then watch the show again with us and smoke it with us. It's see if you're getting what we do. Leave us some comments, pointers on if you're seeing or experiencing the same things we did. Love to get your feedback on it, but I guess that's where we're going to close things up today, and we'll see how this goes when it's time to publish the baby.
Well, let me say this before we get off. They just came out with this thing called the Captain's Collection. I don't know if you saw me smoking it, but I bought a few of them. And it's a box press Bellicoso, and it's 7 of their premier blends and then 1 new blend. So it's a good way for people to go in and try all their blends. It has Queen's Pearl, King's Gold, Barbaroa, Blue Eye Jack. It's got all of their base blends. Conqueror, Navigator, Explorer. And you can get them right around $100. So it's a good way for you to try almost all of their entire lineup.
Yeah. So if you have not tried ADV or you just want to try them all, damn good way to go. Get a good sampler of everything they got.
Captain's Collection, they
Captain's
call it.
Collection.
Yep.
Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, watching, listening, giving us part of your time to enjoy another smoke with us today. Y'all know the drill. Till next time, stay safe and hollow down.
Take care.